Howdy guys, hope you all had a lovely week off. Obviously we're still at home, looking like we will be for the next week or two, but we will carry on nonetheless with this algebra and keep going for as long as we have to, and then we'll have a live class later on in the week as well. I'll put the updates on that on the Schoology. Okay, right, so we go back to the one now. We won't do an awful lot today. We'll settle back in nice and slowly. We'll just do one new thing to get us back in the swing of things, and we'll see how we get on. Okay, right, so we go back to the one note. One note is here, just put that down so I can find on it. So we're moving on. So you think from last year we're down as far as this exercise here, and we're multiplying out brackets, and most people are getting it. Some people are still having trouble, but we'll be doing loads of these. And eventually everyone will be on the same page, and we'll get there. Just to remind you, do you remember this here? We had x squared, x by x gives you x squared, and x by x squared gives you x cubed. It's the same. I can go on and keep doing that. I could do x squared multiplied by x squared, which would give you x to the power of 4. So you keep adding the powers all the way along. Over here, this is going to be x1 and x1, so add the powers to give you x squared. So don't forget that, even though we're moving on. Now, I'm going to show you a few of these here, right? So if you have a look at the example that they give here, is 5x multiplied by x plus 4. So remember, when you have a number beside a bracket like that, what it means is multiply. So I'm going to write that out again, and we'll do it the way we did it before the break. So we have 5x, and then we have x plus 4 in the bracket like that. So what you're doing is, you're multiplying your 5x by the x, and then multiplying it by the 4. So you're going to get two answers here. So it's going to be answer there and answer there. And remember, it's a plus 5x here and a plus in the middle here, so the answer is going to be plus. So if I multiply 5x by x, it's going to give me 5x. And because it's x by x, x squared. And if I multiply then my 5x by my 4, that's going to give me 20x. So your answer is 5x squared plus 20x. And when they give you that answer there at the bottom of the question. So I'm going to do a couple of these for you here now. So I'm going to do out this easy one here. I'm going to do this longer one here, and we're also going to do this one here as well. This mad looking complicated one, but they're all the same. You just multiply each term outside by all the terms inside the bracket. And in parts C and D there, you're going to have a bit of simplifying as well. So see the way the question asks us here: multiply them out and then simplify them. So we'll do A first, right? So A is going to be, if I have 2x by x, it gives me 2x squared. So I've multiplied the 2x by the x, which gives me x squared, 2x squared. And then I'm going to multiply 2 by 1, which is going to just give me 2. Because there's an x, don't forget the x, so 2x. And I'm thinking when I have a plus here and a minus here, so because I have a plus by a minus, it's going to be minus. So 2x squared minus 2x, okay? Over here then, a little bit more complicated, but it's just the same thing twice. So we have a sum to do here, and we have a sum to do here. And then we'll see, is there any simplifying to do after that? So for part C, 2x, so my first one is going to be 2x multiplied by x, and 2x by minus 3. So that's going to give me my first two answers. So 2x by x gives me 2x squared. 2x by minus 3, okay, so it's going to be a plus by a minus, so it's going to be minus. 3 by 2 is going to give me 6, and my x is there with the 2, so minus 6x. So my first part of this sum then is worked out. Then I move over to the other part. And I say, okay, well, minus 4x by x gives me minus 4x squared. So minus 4, but minus by a plus is a minus. 4 by 1 is 4, and x by x is x squared. And minus 4x by 3 gives me minus 12x, like that. And then we're back to where we were day one. We're back to just simplifying. And I have an x squared there and an x squared there. I have an x here and an x here, so I'm going to do the adding and taking away. If I have 2x squareds and I take away 4x squareds, so remember x squareds could be euros, so if I have 2 euros and I lose 4, well, I'm down minus 2x squared. That's that one done. So my x squareds are done. My second one, I have minus 6x and I want to take away another 12 x's. So I'm already down 6, and I lose another 12. It's going to be minus 18x, and that's the answer to part C, done and dusted. I'm going to bring D over here, do D here, okay? Now, again with D, we take it step by step. D has a sum here to work out, and it has another sum here to work out, to do the multiplication, and then we'll add them up and take them away and simplify it and so on. So, I'm going to start by multiplying my 2x by everything in the bracket. So 2x by x squared is going to give us 2x cubed. So remember, this is x on its own is x to the power of 1. Add the powers. X by x squared is going to give me x cubed. So up here, remember, x by x squared gives me x cubed. That's how I got that 2x cubed. 2x, the second one, 2x multiplied by x, is going to give me 2x squared. And the last one, 2x multiplied by minus 1, is going to give me minus 2x. So minus 1 by 2 is just going to give us minus 2. The second bracket then, minus 2 by x gives me minus 2x. And minus 2 by minus 1, so remember, minus by a minus is a plus, and 2 by 1 is just, plus 2. Now, okay, what have I got? I have an x cubed there. I have no more x cubes, so that's just going to have to stay the way it is. My x squareds, I have a 2x squared. Oh, okay, that's going to have to stay the way it is. I have only 1x squared as well. I have only 1x squared value there as well. And finally, I have a minus 2x and a minus 2x. Not finally. What am I saying finally for? It's not finally. So I can do something with them. And I also have the 2 on its own. Right, so let's draw them out. Well, 2x cubed is just going to stay as 2x cubed. Nothing I can do with that. 2x squared is just going to stay as 2x squared because I have no other x squareds. I have minus 2x, so I have minus 2 euros. I'm down 2. And I want to take away another 2. So that's minus 4 x's. And the 2, I have nothing else to add to that, so just plus 2. Done. Okay, and you can ask any questions about that the next hour. You can email me if you're not sure. Right, let's go down and take a look then. Looking at those ones there, we'll do 1 or 2. So what I'm going to get you to do, so your homework here is going to be to do a couple of ones. So I'll give you question 1, question 3. I'll give you the most difficult one as well, and question 8. So you're going to have 3 questions to do for your homework. But what I will do is I'll do the most difficult one for you out nice and slowly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do part D out to finish off today. So nice and short, 3 questions for you to do, and you'll probably get them done within the half an hour of the lesson. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this and follow the steps. So don't be trying to look for an answer. I haven't a clue looking at that question what the answer is. Haven't a notion, and I won't know until I'm nearly at the end of it. So I have to take my time every time and go through the stages. Here's my first sum I'm going to have to work out. I'm going to have to multiply everything in that first bracket by the 4x. And then my second sum. And when I get it all multiplied out, then I'm going to simplify. So my first thing to do, I'm going to multiply 4x by 2x squared, 4x by minus 2x, and 4x by plus 2. That's going to give me 3 answers. So I'm going to end up with 3 answers in the first one. So that's going to, I'll write them out. So 1, 2, 3. There's going to be 3 answers in a minute. And then I'm going to go on, I'm going to multiply the minus 4x by the x squared, by the minus x, and by the minus 2. And that's going to give me another 3 answers. And I assume then, I don't know yet, that I'm going to have to simplify after that. So that's going to be our first line, and I would say there'll be a second line as well. So let's start. Let's multiply my 4x by my 2x squared. Start with that. So 4x by 2x squared gives me 8x cubed. And it's plus 8x cubed because it's a plus 4x and a plus 2x squared. That gives me 8x cubed. Now I'm going to multiply by 4x by my minus 2x, which is going to, if you think of it, it's a plus 4x and a minus 2x. So straight away I know plus by a minus is going to be a minus. 4 by 2 is 8. And x by x is x squared. So 8x squared. So we have 8x cubed minus 8x squared. Finish off the first bracket. A 4x by a 4x by a plus 2 is going to give us, and the bearing is plus 4x by plus 2, so that's going to give us plus 8x. And I'm just putting in those boxes, by the way, so you know how many answers there is in the first line. We're moving over to the second bracket. Sort of the first one. Our first one, minus 4x multiplied by x squared. So I say, well, a minus by a plus straight away. A minus 4x by a plus x squared. So the signs are different. So the answer is going to be minus. And 4x by x squared gives us 4x cubed. Go on, minus 4x by minus x. Okay, so it's a minus 4x by a minus x. So minus by minus, so it's going to be a plus. And 4x by x is going to be 4x squared. The final one, minus 4x by minus 2, is going to be plus 8x. Okay, I'm still not sure the answer. Because I'm not sure what cubes and squares and all I have. So I'm going to underline them because I like to have them underlined so I know what I'm adding and taking away to what. So here's an x cubed and here's an x cubed. Here's an x squared and here's an x squared. And there's an x and there's an x. So I'm going to add the reds to the red. I'm going to add the reds to the reds, the oranges to the oranges, and the blues to the blues, as we did on day one of doing this. Back to black. So 8x cubed minus 4x cubed is going to give me 4x cubed. Minus 8x squared plus 4x squared. So remember, x squared could be anything. Could be euros. Minus 8 euros plus 4 euros. I'm doing the oranges now. Is going to give me minus 4x squared. And the final one, I have plus 8x and plus 8x is going to give me plus 16x, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's the most difficult one of those. So question 8 and question 7 and question 8 are quite difficult ones. These are just doing it. So all over here is just doing it once. So what I want you to do, and I'll put it down the bottom so you're under no illusions. So homework for lesson 2. Exercise 15.5, question 1, 2, and 8. So 3 questions for you to do for lesson 2, week 6. And we will go through those in the class. The next day we'll do a couple more examples from this exercise, and then we go on and look at what happens when there are things like 2 brackets together. Then what do you do? But it's the same thing over and over again. And the trick to these are take your time. If you try to look for the answer straight away, you're just going to get completely confused. Have a look at this example that we did there. Here's your question. There's your first line. There's your second line. You won't have a second line for the first 5 questions there in this exercise. But for the second, question 6, question 7, and question 8, there's you have to multiply it out first and then simplify. So multiply out first and then simplify. So you're going to do question 1, question 4, and question 8. We'll do a live lesson, of course, later on in the week. But if you have any questions in the meantime, you can ask me, but try them. Look back at the other examples, work them out. The more I tell you and the more the more I give you the answers, the longer it'll take you to learn. If you battle through these problems, spend a bit of time and look back at previous exercises and the ones I've done before and finally get to work them out, you'll start to feel great about it and you'll start to understand them, and then it'll get a lot easier as you go forward. I know some of you are flying and that's fabulous, but we all learn at different speeds. So if you're still not getting the hang of this yet, don't worry. I always told you, if you're not getting it, it's something I'm doing wrong, not something you're doing wrong. So take your time. We will all get there. This time, 3 or 4 months, this will be easy stuff that you'll be all doing in 20 seconds. Right. Have a great week, everyone, and keep an eye on the Schoology. I'll let you know when the live class will be, and so on. All right. Thanks very much. Talk to you later.